Hi. This is going to be very interesting. This is the beginning of the rest of my life, and I am choosing to share this with anybody who wants to hear, listen, see into my world, into how I navigate this life, into the next season of my life, because if you haven't already been to my website, www.claraalexander.com, and read my story, this is a journey that I am taking to rebuild or recreate my family. And this is not something that has been planned, so there is no, everything that I say is just being poured out. There are no real rewrites or anything like that. There's no script, nothing. This is just me journeying through life with faith and hope, and love, and with expectancy of the things that I want to happen. And this series is called Intentionally Waiting. And intentionally waiting is really about how, when we're in that season of waiting, when we've come to the point of saying we are now ready for the next season in our life, and we are now intentionally waiting on what that is going to reveal to us and how it's going to unfold. There are too many people that think that they just need to sit down and wait for God to do his miracles. And yes, we know that God is an awesome God. He does so many miracles. He blesses us every day with things that we deserve and things that we don't deserve. In times that we don't deserve them. He is a timely God. He's all these things. But I also believe that when we're talking about intentionally waiting, when we're waiting for anything, we need to do it with intention. And intentionally waiting is kind of like outlining all the steps that we need to take when we are on a specific journey. And I was just thinking, how do I start this? This is episode 1, program 1, the very first one. It's rawness, I don't know how the things are going to transform. You might be watching this 5 years down the line and you're thinking, oh my gosh, these videos look so old. I don't know. We might have high tech at that point. I might have somebody shooting my videos. But at this very point today, it is just me and my iPhone and you. And I'm hoping that I'm able to bring something to the table that's really going to bless somebody, that's really going to help in the transformation of somebody else's life, because I believe that going through this journey, I am also going to be transformed. I have been at a starting point. And again, if you've not read my journey, just go to my website, www.claraalexander.com, and you can read my journey there, and you can possibly get an understanding as to why I've decided to start this journey the way I have. And as we get to know each other, as I get to talk, as I get to show up consistently, because that's another thing that I'm not always great at. I'm not always great at being consistent at something because I get bored. But this is one thing which I have purposed, and I have said I will consistently show up for myself, and I'll consistently show up for you, because for me this is a journey. So where do I start from? What is today's episode, the very first of everything, going to be? And I thought, do I start it off with a prayer? And then I started rehearsing the prayer in my head, and I was like, well, when you pray, you don't rehearse. So there's something wrong with that. So it's not a prayer. Do I start it off with a dance or jumping up and down and saying, hey, my life is great? What do I start this off with? And I glanced to my table, and I saw on my desk was an affirmation that I had written, and I think I'd written this about 5 years ago. And this was my belief then. And I looked at it and I read it, and I was like, this is exactly what I believe right now. And so I'm going to read this to you as my very first affirmation. This is what encompasses everything that I'm doing. And it's a fast forward way into the future. So it's not based on where I am now. It is based on who I will be moving forward. In my life, this is how I see myself. This is how I believe God has created me to be. And although I may not be there yet, I know that it is on my path, and I am now on a journey to claim that which I believe is mine. So I'm going to read this to you. I believe in God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit. I believe that nothing is impossible for God, and He will give me more than what I can ever hope or dream of. Today, I choose to put Him first. I put my trust in Him alone. I am motivated to be the best I can be, and I am determined to thrive. I do not leave till tomorrow what I can do today. I do not allow anything to distract me from my purpose, and I will not allow doubt or fear to make me stumble. I'm a loving mother and wife. My role is to support my husband in achieving his purpose in God. I believe and I see good in people. I've been created to encourage others and help them to be their best self. I have a passion for children and equipping them for purpose and vision. Today, I choose whatever happens, I will not give up on God. I will not give up on the church. I will not give up on my purpose, and I will not give up on my family. And I think that is an apt start to my journey, because it's going to be a ride. It's probably going to be a roller coaster. But I don't believe it's going to be the scary roller coaster that, some of us might think that this kind of a journey will be. I think that there's a lot of fear coming into it, and throughout the process I am praying and hoping that that fear will disappear. I'm also putting my faith in statement. So you will hear me throughout the course of this series bringing to light statements, and this is where I'm anchoring my faith on. And when you anchor your faith on something, it's because you truly believe that this thing is going to happen, and you have to sometimes gear yourself up for it. You have to sometimes go, you know what, I have maybe a small doubt or small disbelief, but God has says, just believe. So when you put your faith in something, it is about not just an airy fairy kind of thought like, oh, maybe this or maybe that, and then you're creating, I don't know, your get out clauses left, right and center. This is about actually firmly standing on something and saying, I believe and I have faith. And I believe that what I have read here will come to pass. I believe that I will be able to recreate the family, recreate my family. If you haven't gone to my website, if you have gone to my website, you will know that I started off with a family. I had everything. I had a car, I had a house, I had a husband, I had children, I had all of these things, and these were like literally ripped away from me through things that I'd done, through circumstances, through things that had happened, and and I started off from absolute point zero. And I'm able to still stand before you or sit before you today with a legitimate smile on my face, because I know that I was taken through all these things for a purpose, for a reason, to become the woman I am today and to grow further into the woman that I will be tomorrow. So what is today's topic? Today I'm going to spell out to you what I deem the 5 stages of waiting intentionally. So the 5 stages of intentionally waiting. So there are 5 stages to get you from being single to married. And the 5 stages that I have created are stage number 1, attraction, number 2, intention, number 3, commitment, number 4, engagement, and number 5, marriage. Those are the 5 stages. And throughout the course of this series, I am going to take you through my journey to see where I actually land. Where am I? Am I at the stage of attraction, or am I in intention or commitment or engagement or even marriage? And each of these stages are so important, because it is really paramount that you understand not only the stage, but also what goes with that stage. And everybody's definition is going to be different. So for instance, when I talk about the first stage, attraction, now Attraction is, you meet somebody and you're attracted to them. And it's not that you're just necessarily attracted to the way they look, but it might be that you're attracted to their intelligence. It might be you're attracted to the way they walk. There's got to be some level of attraction to them for you to come together, just as they've got to be attracted to you as well in some way or form. If that's not happening, then it's not working. But what I would say is that sometimes it might take a little bit of time for that attraction to actually occur. It might be that you see somebody on date 1, for instance, but you need to go on date 2, date 3, date 4 until you're actually sure whether there is an attraction there or there isn't an attraction. Now, at the moment, I am actually in the stage of attraction. So just to backpedal a little bit, is that I have started dating, and I think that people have got different views on dating. Some people think that, you shouldn't date at all, that you should just sit and wait. That's not my belief. I believe that we need to be positioning ourselves intentionally. So when it comes to the stage of attraction, it is really about positioning yourselves intentionally in the kind of places that you would want to show up. Because the places that you would want to show up would essentially be the kind of places that you'd want your husband to show up in. There's no point, if you're not the kind of person that goes to pubs or things like that, go into a pub when you know that that's not where you want to be. Or go into a nightclub when you know that's not where you want to be. If you're not that kind of a person, what are you looking for there? God is able to position anybody in any place. So, and if that's the case, you might as well position yourself in places that you like to go. So, as we're going through the series, we're going to be talking really about the attraction phase and how I'm journeying on that, and the dates that I'm going on, the kind of preparation that needs to go, that I am making. And sometimes, I might get it spot on. Sometimes I won't. Sometimes I'll make a mistake. Sometimes I'll do the wrong thing. Sometimes you'll be like shouting at the camera going, you know what, Clara, this is crazy. Totally get that. I love your comments, or any comment that you have, whether it's advice for the kind of things that you think that I should be doing, or whether it's like, well, Clara, why are you doing that? That's just crazy. Any comment for me is not a wasted comment, I'm not those kind of people that will just read the great comments and leave the comments that I'm not happy with. It doesn't necessarily mean that I've got to digest it, but it just means that you're listening and you're connecting and you have got a passion about what I've said or what I'm doing, and it'd be great to know what they are. So that is the first stage, and I don't know how long that stage is going to be. It could be a stage that lasts a month, 2 months, 3 months, I don't know. But journey with me and you'll find out. The next stage is really the stage of intention. And then when you're in intention mode, it's kind of like, you found your level of attraction, and now you want to intentionally start to look at your values. So what are your values? What are their values? Do they match up? Where do you want to be? Where do they want to be? Do they match up? Are you moving in opposite directions, or are you coming together? If you don't want to have children, for instance, don't hook up with somebody that has children or wants children. If you don't want to, if you want to travel the world, or you don't want to live in the country that you're in, don't hook up with somebody who's got family close by and is never going to leave that country. It's just not going to work. So you start to, in this phase, look at your values intentionally, because you're intentionally kind of like getting to the point where you're trying to see, is this person for me? And obviously with all of this, we include God. We don't leave God in the corner. God is at the forefront. For me, anyway, God is always at the forefront. So when you're watching this, if you're a Christian, then you'll relate to me. But if you're not a Christian, you'll also relate. So it doesn't necessarily mean that just because you're not a Christian, you can't watch my journey or go through my journey, or even appreciate the journey that I'm going through. This is for everybody to gain and lean on something. But it's just that because I am a Christian, my benchmark that I'm leaning on would be God. So in all these things, I will be praying, I will be talking to God, and I even may be praying whilst I'm talking. So it's just like me going through this whole journey and how I've done this journey, and we'll see where we get to. Like, I am believing that I'm going to be able to recreate my family, and I'm recreating my family using these first 5 steps. So, and then I'm building on that once I get there. So it's like a journey for you to come along with. And at any point in time, just jump on the bandwagon and see whether, you might be on the similar journey with me, and there may be some things that we can actually do together, some things that we can connect together. There's some realities that I may get to. There may be some kind of temptations that that I'm here at, and I'm thinking, oh, I've got to share this with you guys because I just don't know what to do. I might come on here just asking for questions, asking for help, asking for advice. I don't know yet. I don't know how it's going to flow because, like I said, this is not scripted. I am just here showing up with myself and my iPhone and you. After intention, then it's commitment. So commitment is really when you decide that you're now committed to one person. You really want to go down that path with one particular person. So if you're on multiple dating sites, for instance, or if you're going to places and, hoping you're going to meet people and things like that, that all stops at this point because, you've now come into the form where you're like, we're now going to see how we actually flow together. How do we flow together? This particular person, you for some reason, you're not just connected to them, so you're not just attracted to them. It's not just that your values are flowing, but you really just want to see more of them. And actually, you're happy to see more of them without having to see any of the rest. So you don't close the door to everybody at this point because you're now focused on this particular person and they're now focused on you. And this is the commitment. And this is where you are now looking to see, can we actually start to build a life together? Can we really build a life together? And this is where it gets you to the point of engagement. So like in all of these other stages, this is really the kind of serious stage where you're like, okay, I'm moving forward with this. This is the kind of like the stage where you're possibly introducing them to your family, to your friends, the people that are close to you. This is the point where, you're doing things together and you're actually watching to see how do they do things, how do they relate with each other? Do they, are they actually stacking up to the values? Now that we're now comfortable with each other and we're now focused on each other, how do we do things together? And if we're now happy with the way in which we do things together, that leads on to engagement. So hey, the question gets popped, will you marry me? And it's like, yeah, of course I would marry you. So now you're at the point of engagement, and it's all, this is a fun time because it's like now you're now preparing together to get married. And you're going through the whole motions of that, and you're looking at your side of the family, their side of the family, who do we invite, what do we do, how does it look like, all of these kind of things, the challenges that goes with that, because, I'm expecting that with all these stages, there's always going to be a challenge, there's always going to be something that is like, oh, how do I deal with this, how do I move forward with this, is like, is this a deal breaker? I've just heard this. Now, what do I do? There's always going to be something. But then, and it doesn't necessarily mean that just because I've got to this stage with somebody that I've got to go to the next stage, because it may well be that, it's not for me. And I got to accept that. And then, yeah, okay, we've got to this point. We've realised we're not for each other. Thank you very much. I get back to the beginning and I work my way through to that stage, and it's a-okay. And it may well be, if I do get to that point, I might need a moment, I might need to rebuild myself up again. I might need to take a break. I really don't know. But that is a stage that, I am excited to get to. And then obviously we've got marriage, which is like, you're going through the marriage ceremony and everything, and now that becomes the beginning of another set of things. And at this point in time, I don't know what that looks like, so I'm not even going to start to to talk about what that looks like. It will be what it will be. But at this stage now, I'm at the attraction stage. So I'm out there, placing myself out there, putting myself in strategic locations, doing things strategically. Some things I'm doing, I can hear the Holy Spirit saying, yeah, that's not cool, that's not right, that's not where you should be, and I'm leaning in and listening to the voices. But there's some that, I don't hear anything, and I just continue to plod on and say, okay, well, maybe here, maybe there, maybe this, maybe that, I don't know. So this whole waiting intentionally waiting is about those 5 stages, and it's about my journey through those 5 stages. So, you know, if you're interested, if you're thinking this could be a cool Saturday night kind of like hook up, let's just watch all the episodes of Intentionally Waiting, then you know what, that's great. Let's comment on it, and you know, let's give some feedback, let's show some love, let's subscribe to the channel, you know. So if you want to follow my journey, then just subscribe to the channel. Everybody says subscribe and hit that bell. So you know, you can watch me and not subscribe, it doesn't really matter. You can watch me once and not come back, it again doesn't really matter. But I will be showing up time and time again for myself and also for you. So I'm looking forward to this journey. I'm looking forward to what episode 2 is going to be all about. And I hope I get to see you there. Take care. It's going to be a journey, and I'm looking forward to having you on board. Take care. Bye.